In this episode of the Companion Guide, we'll be covering everything there is to know about Wanderer Companions. We'll also look at the different roles these companions can take on. Let's start with the basics. Companions can be recruited from the tavern of any town for a small fee, usually around 500 dinars. We're limited to the number of companions we can hire based on our clan tier. At level 0, we can have a maximum of 3, all the way up to 9 at clan tier 6. There are 2 perks that can increase the companion limit: Charm 250 Camaraderie and Leadership 250 We Pledge Our Swords. With these 2 perks in clan tier 6, that maximum raises up to 11. One quick note, if you take Leadership 250 and later respec to take the other perk, you will actually lose the companion. A warning message pops up that you are over your companion limit and they will leave shortly after. Not every town will have a companion to hire, and it can be a real pain to travel around finding the right one. So the easiest way to find them is to use the Encyclopedia. Press N, click on the Heroes tab. On the left side, filter by Wanderers, and you will see the full list. Be aware, when you first spawn in the game, all companions' locations will be unknown. To clear this, enter the closest town to you and it'll populate their last known location. One thing to be aware of is companions are expensive to maintain. Their wages are easy to calculate. Multiply their level by 2 and add 2 more. We can see this level 11 companion costs 24 dinars, level 12 costs 26, and 16 all the way up to 32 dinars. In the early game, hiring several companions can quickly inflate our party wages, but there are some fun ways around this. Companions only cost a wage if they are in a party. We can leave companions in towns, castles, and villages to avoid paying their wage, picking them up later when we have more income to support. If we leave them in a town or castle, they become an ambassador and can farm charm XP this way. If left in a castle, they have a chance to increase relations with the owner's clan. If left in a town, they can increase relations with the owner as well as any notable in town, which will help us increase our recruiting slots. If left in a village, we pay no wages, but they also don't gain any relations or charm XP. We also don't pay companion wages when they're assigned as a governor, although at that stage of the game it probably doesn't matter anyways. We can also have companions lead a party within our clan. We can do this from the clan page, click create party underneath our main party, and if the companion is in our party, we can opt to donate troops to them. If they're not in our party, they will start wherever they are on the map and proceed to hire troops around them. Running clan parties can get really expensive quickly. We can limit their wages by going to the clan screen, clicking on the party tab, and adjusting the settings near the bottom. Untick the unlimited wage box and move the slider around. They will stop upgrading and hiring troops once they've reached their limit. We can also adjust the party behavior: neutral, aggressive, and defensive. In my experience, the AI for parties in Bannerlord is notoriously bad, and I generally leave them on defensive and handle all offensive actions myself. Clan parties generally don't make money, but from time to time they can. The most common way is through battles. They get loot and prisoners just like us. When they visit a town, they can sell these items and the money will filter back to us slowly. In 1.8, they aren't selling prisoners, but instead donating them to the dungeon, but this should be patched soon. Also be aware, when we first create a companion party, they will have a huge negative daily wage. This will eventually go down to their true party wage, but the party does need to pay for food and mounts, and this cost is front-loaded by us. Even if we have no plans to use a companion right away, it makes sense to hire up to the limit and let them increase relations for us over time. However, if we find a better companion that we wish to hire, we can let one go by opening up dialogue with them, talk about their position in the clan, and that we no longer have a need of their services. Be aware, we can't open the dialogue with a companion while in a fief, so step outside to do this. For some reason, firing a companion right now kills them off for good, so we won't have the option to reclaim them later. If we have death enabled, there is a chance that companions will die during battle. The base chance is 2%, but this can be mitigated further by having better armor and medicine perk 225 cheat death, which lowers the odds by a further 50%. However, the best way to keep companions alive is to not have them fight in the first place. A perfect example of this is a high-level quartermaster, surgeon, engineer, or scout. They have very little value on the battlefield, but a tremendous value to the party for their non-combat skills and perks. We can employ a few methods to keep them out of harm's way. If we have a simple army, our task is much easier. In this case, we only use shielded infantry and archers, which take up groups 1 and 2. We put all of our companions on a mount, which classifies them as cavalry. As soon as the battle starts, we select our cavalry and issue the retreat command F1, then F7. However, if we have a full army with cavalry and horse archers as well, then we need to think a little bit more on how to separate them out. Thanks Tailworlds for making this easy and intuitive. Let's go with companions on foot this time, starting with archer group and filtering by archers with throwing weapons. Since none of our archers have throwing weapons, we simply need to make our companions have a cheap bow, some arrows, and a cheap throwing weapon equipped so we can separate them out without issue. We create group 5 made of archers, add the filter for troops with throwing weapons, move the slider until all companions are there, start the battle, and issue the retreat command. Let's briefly talk about the different roles that need to be filled by our companions and family members. We covered ambassadors and party leaders already, but we can also use companions as a governor, a leader of a trade caravan, a captain for a section of our troops, or the main party's quartermaster, surgeon, scout, or engineer. We'll have a whole section dedicated to governor perk builds, but aside from that, it's important to remember that placing a governor that has a matching culture to the fief will get a loyalty bonus of +1, and having the wrong culture will give a -1 loyalty debuff. Leading a trade caravan can be a great way to make some money and level our companion skills, but there isn't much we can do once we send them on their way. Flasan 19 has done a tremendous amount of work testing caravans, and there are a few perks that help the profitability and survival of caravans, so be sure to use one that has decent trading skill, riding, scouting, or tactics for the best results. Check the description for a link to his video. Captains can be selected to lead a portion of our army and imbue the troops they lead with bonuses from perks. We'll be covering builds in the next video, but one important thing to keep in mind here. We should only place companions as a captain if they are expendable. For example, if our quartermaster also has really good captain perks, it might be best to retreat them from the battle instead of leading, as the risk of death can greatly outweigh the benefits to our troops. And finally, the 4 party roles. By default, our main character will handle all 4 of these roles simultaneously. However, if we don't have a high level cap in all of these areas, then it's best to hire some roles out to companions instead. There are 2 important considerations with this decision. Not all perks will work for a companion filling the role, meaning they can only be activated if our main character takes the role, and companions will never be able to focus certain skills as well as the player can. Let's look at some examples of the first point. One of the best perk combinations in the game is Scouting and Riding level 225. Both Mounted Patrol and Keen Sight are tagged Party Leader, which means they are only active when our main character has the perk and won't work for a Scouting companion. All of the good Steward and Engineer perks are tagged Quartermaster and Engineer respectively, so these are great options for a companion to handle. Medicine is another tough call. Level 175 Health Advice is really important for a death-enabled campaign, but is tagged Clan Leader, and it'll only work if our main character has it. The final perk, Minister of Health, is tagged Personal and likewise will only work when our main character takes the role. For the second point, most Wanderer companions will spawn with random stats, making it impossible to max a skill out. It's not difficult to get 5 focus points into a skill, but getting 10 attribute points is where the challenge lies. Most companions will have 3 to 4 attribute points in some categories to start and around level 12, meaning their future potential is limited. In most of my campaigns, I'm lucky if I can get a companion leveled up to 7 or 8 attribute points, and only after a tremendous amount of hard work. Our main character, on the other hand, can easily get intelligence and cunning up to 10 attributes in a campaign, giving us the possibility to reach the level cap of 330 in all 4 areas. In the next and final episode of this series, we'll be looking at a ton of different companion builds. 4 captains, 6 governor, and 5 fulfilling the main party roles or leading a party. We'll also look at which companions are best suited for these roles. And finally, we'll cover a few of the best spouses to marry from each faction. I'd love it if you smash the like button, and I'll see you on the next one. To clear this, picking the final perk,